Welcome back, guys. This is Radiant Homes. My name is Andrew Owino. I don't even know whether my wife today is called Mrs. Owino. We've been fighting lately.
Lately? That was just yesterday.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, but it feels like the whole month.
Today we're gonna fight. You know, last time we talked about fondness for each other, which you need to nurture because that builds your bank account so that the day you fight, you can draw something from it. Now, maybe you have been following us, and if you missed that session, you want to go back and check it out, because if you don't nurture fondness, you can't do what we're going to do today to fight fairly. Actually, that's the subject of our third session today, fighting fairly. Maybe the first question is, why do people fight?
Different reasons. One, people fight because their personality clashes.
Alright.
Somebody loves, people. The other one loves their own personal time and space. So the two of you have gone out on a party. The other one wants to spend time with people. You want to spend time alone. So personality differences can be a cause of fight. The other cause of fight is money issues and how it is spent or not spent, how it is earned or not earned. A lot of the times people fight because of communication problems, where you say one thing and the other one hears another thing. Like, when he says, for example, you've put too much salt in the food and I'm like, you're not a good cook. That's what I had. And sometimes it's assumptions about certain things.
Assumptions?
Yeah, like you're angry.
Just your inner beliefs which you've not expressed. The other person doesn't know.
The other person does not know your inner beliefs. Like, for example, I know women who get angry because their husband is not helpful at home. So you assume that he should know, he should be helping. Well,
but you didn't say. How should I know?
But you should know. Use common sense.
Well, I think even in parenting, you will find a parent has a concern that you don't need to be hard on the child. The other one says, okay, we don't want to let the child to be lax. So you can see already there's a clash there. Everyone has their own thing they are protecting. Should we say fightings are one of the avenues of communicating differences?
Yeah, and I've remembered another reason why they fight. In-laws.
In-laws are big reasons why we fight.
Exactly.
Why would you fight over an in-law?
If there's no sense of togetherness, if there's no we-ness and somebody wants to pick the side of the in-laws or the in-laws will bring issues, of course you will fight.
In fact, here is a good game you're going to do as husbands or as men. If I give you a list of, are you a man or a husband or a father? Can you put that in order?
Son.
And a son. Let's say husband, father, son, then?
Brother.
Brother, you've added another one. Okay, just take husband, man, father, son. Can you put those things in order? The first, you are a man. That's true. The second, you are? A husband, yes, before you are a son. So if there's a conflict between your wife and your mother, you better choose the side of your
the side of
your wife.
No, I remember when we went for counseling, our premarital counseling several years ago.
Yeah.
Our counselor gave us a story, and I want you to think about it.
That
if you come to an African home, and there are two huts. One of them houses your mother, the other one houses your wife.
Yes.
And both of them are on fire. Unfortunately, you can only save one, and you're the only one who can save.
Oh my.
Which house will you run to first?
I don't know whether I'll run to my mother's hut because my dad is long dead, but the counselor says...
No, they're alive. They're alive, assuming...
if the husband... Okay, if my father is alive. Well, the counselor told us, and it really challenged me deeply, that you need to sort out your wife's hut first. You need to save your wife first. It is taking the side of a husband first before, even in consultations of money issues, because these things will cause problems in fights. But you want to say something on that?
Yeah, and the same principle applies to how we deal with work, how we deal with other friends, because sometimes we make others feel like they are more priority. I remember one fight we had at some point where I felt he was giving devotional time more to other people than to me. You know, I would be like, how can you wake up and you lead others' devotions? You've not had devotions with me. Yeah. And sometimes in how we treat others, people want to be put as priority over work, priority over church, because some of us are literally married to the church. You're in church the whole
Married
day.
to the office. You're in the office the whole week and you're never there. We could link this to a prime need of everyone. It's called unfulfilled dreams. Whenever someone is fighting with you, let's start it this way. They are communicating an unfulfilled dream. Write that down. They're not hating you. They're just telling you, I wish things would go this way. I want things to go this way. But you see, the question is, does every fight mean a divorce?
Or separation.
Or separation? That we have to walk away from the house or beating each other up. I don't know what you do when you fight. But you know, there are people who fight even with their mouth. Their words are so cutting. A djembe cannot compete. You know, if you imagine someone cutting with a djembe. You know, so that's we think that all fightings don't have to. In fact, no fighting should lead to a divorce. Every fight is good.
Yeah, it is true that it is good. However, there are emotions that come during fights.
During fights.
And the primary emotion that people know how to express is anger.
Anger.
And beneath the anger is usually a cover for disappointment.
Other emotions.
You know, for feeling disregarded, for fear. Yeah. So how you deal with the anger is what is crucial, because the Bible, in talking to Cain, says that when Cain was angry, God asked him a question. He asked him, Cain, why are you angry? And then the next thing he said is that sin lies at your door. And we know that the wages of sin is usually death. You know, death of a relationship.
Before death, after sin. So it means every anger has a reason behind it.
Yes.
You can't just be angry for no reason. And that's why we said it's good to think through that every conflict has a reason behind it. So the ability to handle and know there could be an unfulfilled dream, something is communicating, is important. Why are you angry? Then you talked about sin now lying at your door. Why is it lying at the door? It doesn't have another place to lie.
Because when you're angry, the likelihood is you're going to do something that is irrational. Sometimes you'll say things that are not correct.
We have a new dog. The way to understand that is when you spread for it a mat next to the door, it comes there. So sin is like, or anger is like a mat for sin.
Yeah.
So when you spread the mat on the door, sin comes and lies there. So maybe the first thing to know is how do you remove the mat, which is how do you deal with the emotions around anger. It could be stress. Have you seen someone who is so angry, kumbe ni njaa tu inamsumbua? You know, so the ability also to go beneath just the anger. Is it what are the issues? Is it just stress?
It could be stress, but also I like asking, how do you deal with the anger as an individual? You know, how do you process your own anger? I have personally learned how to just write it out, pray about it. Journaling, yes. The other thing that I learned is don't drive when angry.
Don't drive when angry. We're going to come back to that later. But you say sin leads to death. Death of what?
It could be death of the relationship, death of mission, death of communication,
death of romance, death of engagement, death of enjoyment, death of, now you just stay there as two potatoes which don't like each other.
And there's so many walking dead people.
Because they're angry.
Exactly.
Those are called the affects of anger.
The effects. Okay. All
affects.
Right.
Affects is no.
Okay, fine.
Whatever it is. Well, friends, now before that, you need to know that anger, fights, conflict will always come. You will always fight, or you will sometimes fight. We want to reduce these fights in intensity, in how they are processed. We also want to reduce the fights in terms of where they are located, because sometimes someone is already stressed with other things. When anger comes on it, it becomes bad. Then we introduce something called emotional bank account. You see, you can't go, let's say you have a national bank, then that's the account you have. You can't go to Equity and ask them for money. So couples, families need to know how to deposit. When you deposit, you can withdraw.
Yeah.
So what are deposit? These are the good things you do when things are just okay. Like going to Hope Channel like this and recording. You know, you guys don't know. We get stressed up some other time. But when we come here, do things together, we light up. When you go eat out together, you know, the small things you enjoy. What are the small things people can do and can enjoy way before anger? It's called depositing in the bank account.
Like eating mahindi choma.
Mahindi choma. You can just take mahindi, you burn in the house and things like that. What else?
Yeah, you could go out, swim together, run around, play, you know. Those are some things that we do.
It makes
Swim,
you to
travel.
love to talk to the person, so that even talking to them in anger is not such a threat. But if they are visitors, you know, you don't share basic moments, values, events. That's why we spoke about building fondness in our previous episode. And then the very first one, we talked about emotional maps.
Yeah.
It would be good when you have a good map, then you can know this guy now is angry because of the way I spoke. It's not what I said. Because he likes his things said this way. So we think that emotional banks are important.
Well, they are, and you want to build them well.
Yeah.
But remember, your emotions will always change. And in whatever you do in that moment of anger, sometimes there's a difference between life
And then
and death. Because sometimes you've been happy all along, and then somebody makes you so angry,
and then
you kill them.
or you turn away.
Or you...
And when we come back, you will notice how cushioning the emotional bank will help you. But even during anger, even if you had $1 million in the bank, somehow you might make this one big mistake which we want you to avoid. It's called, I'll tell you after this break.
Welcome back. Just before the break, you said there was one thing that is called what?
Yeah, if you don't take care of this one thing during a fight, things can go south. It's called turning away from each other. When things go wrong, did you know that's the time you need to turn towards each other? Now, couples ignore each other's emotion, not out of malice or unwillingness, but it's out of not knowing. That's the time someone just wants a hug. Just turning to each other. And let's talk about that concept, because if you do, there's a way you recharge really quickly even during that time. And it's a skill you can develop. It's not something you are born with. Everybody, when you are angry, you are taught to flee, isn't it?
You know, it's important to turn away. I like giving a story.
It's important to turn away.
No, to turn towards each other.
Is it easy?
It is definitely not easy. You know, there is a time I got angry at him and I drove away. And when I arrived at my destination, I like giving this illustration of I was asked to jumpstart another car.
Who asked? Let's just go. This story is interesting. You are running away from home. There is a conflict, which is what you must not do. First of all, just stay at home. just turned towards him, but you ran
Okay.
away.
Yeah.
So then you met who?
Then when I was driving,
First of all, you almost caused an accident.
I was angry. I was driving so angrily that when I hit the road, I had the screeching of another car.
That's the result of running away.
Exactly. So I almost got into an accident, and my heart was beating so fast because the other vehicle, I missed it by a whisker. I drove into a hotel, and when I got into the hotel, I met a wedding. Now, when you're angry, the last thing you want to see is a wedding, especially when
you
you're
are
angry
with your husband.
Exactly. So I was angry with my husband. I didn't want to see anything marriage or to remind me about weddings and marriages. So when I arrived there, I was called. I met this wedding, and I didn't want to see anything wedding. Now, when I drove in, I met another wedding happening, and of course, you know the type of vehicles that they use in weddings.
Those big vehicles.
And they are big vehicles. Now
decorated.
Exactly, and my car is not so big. And soon I see one of the gentlemen.
Just say our car is small.
Exactly.
Say it's not so big.
One of the gentlemen from the wedding approached me and said, "Madam, we need your help. Please come and help us jumpstart." And in my head, I'm thinking, even big vehicles, it was a big V8, even big vehicles need to be jump-started. And I was like, okay, all right. And that was my first lesson, that marriage is a big engine. But even a big vehicle can need jump-starting. And so I drove closer. And these were young people. I think they were early. I don't think they had ever jump-started any vehicle because of this. So they had no jumpers in their car. So I went to my car and I picked my jumper engine.
So you need to walk with some jumpers, marriage jumpers. And that marriage jumper is just the little fun things that can connect you together.
And attending trainings like this one, watching shows like this,
Those can
be jumpers, for times of emergencies.
So you picked the jumper.
So I picked the jumper.
I hope you didn't connect negative to negative. I mean, negative and positive. Yeah.
No, I connected them well. You taught me well. So I connected the jumpers very well. And these guys didn't know that for you to jumpstart, you've got to turn on the ignition.
Allah. So they were expecting the vehicle to start just because you have...
exactly. So I told them, no,
they've been driving.
Turn on your ignition. So they went on and turned on their ignition.
And that's another lesson there.
Exactly. That, first of all, you've got to come close. There's no Bluetooth way of jump-starting vehicles. It's yet to be discovered.
So even relationships don't have Bluetooth ways.
Yeah.
Even when there is a fight by then in your home, you can't fight via Bluetooth. That's the time husbands take off and enter training.
Or you go sleeping in a different bedroom.
Come closer. Bring the nose of the vehicle to the nose of the other vehicle and then remove the jumper.
Exactly. You've got to go back to your bedroom, go back to your house, go back to your home. That's the only way to sort out problems.
There's
no
Bluetooth who is moving back to their bedroom today, right?
We hope so.
Okay.
And then the other thing is, turn on the ignition. This is not the time to look for, what went on with this battery? Is it at the right level? It's time to turn on the ignition. The ignition.
And ignition here is the thing that excites the other person. When you met, there is something that she liked, flowers, for example. She likes hugs, for example. That's the thing you need to bring in at that fight. And I'm telling you, it is not easy. But let me tell you, couples turn away from each other, not out of... malice, but out of ignorance, out of unawareness. But now that you're aware, you can turn towards each other and turn on the ignition. Two things you want to do. And we're going to do a demonstration here. How to turn towards each other. So once you've turned on the ignition, what happened? Did the car come on?
Of course, the car came on, but I reflected upon that story, and God spoke with me and said, "Dan, go back to your house. You need to go back and turn on the ignition and sort out the problems." But today, I'm very, very angry at this gentleman here. And I want to ask him, why was he on phone the whole night yesterday?
Well, I wasn't on phone the whole night yesterday.
Well, at least for the time.
Part of the night.
You see, I was looking forward to spending a good evening with him. I've not been home. Ati pole bus. You can't say pole bus.
But we were with you the whole day.
But I wanted to be with you at night. We were with you with people the whole day.
So you wanted to be with me alone the whole night?
Yes.
Where was I?
You were on phone.
The whole night?
At least for the time when I was awake, you were on phone.
Well, friends, you can see that we will never agree on this thing. Whenever there is a fight around, you need to know that behind, in fact, somebody said, every head is a globe, is a world. So behind all the complaints, the way they are saying it, there are a myriad of things, even if you're the best psychologist, you'll never understand. You don't even know why they were on phone or what you say on phone. Maybe they're not even on phone. Maybe they're just holding that thing to annoy you, to keep themselves away from you. Now,
is that what you are doing?
I don't know. The assumptions you make only aggravate the issue. If you learn to allow that there are many complexities that build up the issue that you're now dealing with, the person has a background, they have had a day, maybe something went wrong, maybe they have not seen something in your perspective. That is why turning towards them makes them feel, okay, he can explain whatever I feel is wrong. But when you turn away, then their perspectives hold. And turning away sometimes doesn't have to be physical. Sometimes you can go quiet. Sometimes you can be sarcastic. Sometimes you can be just ignorant about what you need to, that you need to just sit there and listen. So for example, let's not put it on a conflict. Let's say, want us to try this. Let's see if we can do it. There is a procedure of how you can inculcate turning towards each other. Let's say your husband comes home and is complaining about the boss. Well, you can decide, I want you to call your spouse now and try this at home. You will take turns. So one person tells you about something that has irritated them in their day. Take something easy. Don't take those high fights in the home, like who is... we need to talk.
Who is saved as M-Pesa on your phone?
Leave those hard ones. Where did you spend the money? Leave the hard ones. Just do things like how your day was. So when your spouse comes and he says how his day was, I want you to go through the procedure we'll give you, and then you take turns. Then you swap. So when I say how my day was, you have an opportunity to give me advice, to counsel me, or to tell me what to do, or complain why I'm always complaining. But you can also do this. You can listen, isn't it? Don't give unsolicited advice, okay? Then show genuine interest. Listen in, ask questions, and then communicate that you understand. And then take the spouse's side. Don't take the side of the guy he's complaining about. And finally, foster we against others. Inaitwa Mushene. Let's try this. So, who is starting? You can go first. Complain about something, and then I will.
You go first.
I go first. Well, let's see what I can complain about. You see, now, for example, our office, it's getting mad in the office. My boss just keeps piling work and work and work over me, and they can't be so unreasonable. I can't be the only one who is doing everything every other day, as if they don't know that there are other people in the office. So in that office, when I enter, everything is just being thrown to me. It's me who they know they can always accomplish, and it's very frustrating.
Oh, poor baby.
Well, that's also another response you can use. When she has complained, just say, poor baby, and leave it there. But what about if you, let's say you wanted to take me for counseling and maybe teach me how to work?
I'll need to ask, do you want my advice?
Yeah, that's another way.
Yeah. Or I would say, if he agrees to my advice, I would tell him, do you want to try speaking with your boss over this issue? Especially
if you're listening to a man, maybe a man may want a solution. That's why they are talking to you. But let's try the one for ladies. You will see that they usually don't need any solution. Better complain.
So I have this colleague. She does not like working. And she's too bossy. She will come. She wants to see.
No, you don't know how to work with your colleagues.
It's me again.
You
I'll
can
never
see-
tell you anything.
You can see that that's not going to go anywhere, isn't it? Because first of all, I have interrupted her. Number two, there is no we. It is now, it is me and her colleague against her. You can see the side I've taken, but let's do that again. I could say something like, well, that's very bad of your colleague. How come she does things like that?
I don't know what's wrong with her.
Yeah.
I really, really don't know. And it is getting to my nerves. I wish I didn't have to work with her.
Well, but now that you have to still work with her, it must be very sad, very depressing to work in such an environment.
Yeah. What do you want me to do?
Do you want a hug or something like that? Well, we're trying to just simulate some of these things. But when we go home, sometimes we realize it's more difficult than that. And that is where you now want to pick the little nuggets out of this show. Express genuine interest in listening to someone and hold your horses from, counseling or offering advice or, complaining. Even when your spouse complains about you, hold your horses from defending. Just listen, and sometimes, please try this. Aongee sema tu, poor baby, I did that. It even also opens up your heart to be able to listen and respond. And if you are wrong, you could just say,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you
It's
don't
important
die.
to learn how to say, please, I'm sorry. And the other important thing in conflicts and fighting fairly
right?
is don't assume things. Because, like, I assumed you were chatting with someone. Is that what you were doing?
No, I was actually looking for interesting things that you would like to hear. So finally, friends, show affection even after the fight. If it's possible, tap them, touch them, hug them, and validate their emotions. With that, we hope you can resolve your conflicts at home. Until next time, we will come back with another session on Radiant Homes on how you can build up your communication. We know that the heat of fight sometimes is good to warm up a home, but don't let the temperatures go too high.
Last thing. Fight when you have enough time.
Oh, don't start fighting when you are in a hurry.
Exactly.
Well-
Because you won't have time to resolve the issue. He
That
could
is
be traveling.
good wisdom.
Don't start a fight when he's just leaving for the office.
Yeah.
Start a fight when you have enough time to go through the issues and resolve them. And I don't think we've resolved our issue.
What was
because
the
I
issue,
am
by the way?
still
What was the
angry.
issue? What was the issue? Now, like, seriously, what was the
You
issue?
were on phone.
No, me, I was not on phone. Did you see me even on phone?
You
Even
were
after
on phone.
sasa hii
You
show
were
nitakuacha
screenshotting.
ufanye peke yako. We can't go back on this.
Okay. I hope we have enough time to resolve this next time.